Hi, Eliza. Thank you so much for being here with me.
Thanks for having me, hon.
Welcome. So I know that you are not yet a mom. You have been a workshop leader with your mom, teaching about mothering and daughtering. You guys are the co-author of Mothering and Daughtering.
Yep.
You've been at this for 11 years. You're a speaker. You're an author, obviously.
Yeah.
Your career has been illustrious, I have to say, at a relatively young age. And so I'm curious, where were you at in your life and in your business when you first heard of Origin?
So I'd been in this career for 11 years. A lot of it was in person. And so I was just starting to take it online about a year ago. We went, all right, we want to expand our reach. I'm so tired of doing in-person stuff. It just wasn't working for me. I was exhausted. And I'd hit this impasse of, already I'm a recovering perfectionist, right? So we can start there as like, that's kind of my life is like, I'm not doing it good enough. There must be something wrong here, like constant feeling of needing to fix myself. And it was hitting this impasse in work where I felt like I was my own worst enemy. I had these visions, these things I wanted to do, but I wasn't able to execute it and make it happen. Like my own energy was working against me. And that was one of the things that I remember you speaking about when you were offering Origin for the first time, was like actually the genius of working with your energy. And that like peaked up for me, because I was like, wait, that could be possible? Because I was still thinking like, certain phases of my cycle would come and I would feel so tired, and I would hit that old pattern of, oh, I'm lazy, or I don't have what it takes, or like, I'm just like not good enough to make this vision, this thing I hope for, actually happen. So I was feeling like really stuck, and like maybe it was my fault, frankly.
And how did you hear about Origin?
Really, online. I was following you since Money, a Love Story came out, and then you began to make the shift, when you had your daughter. And initially I think, well, I can't really relate to that. I think I was, 24, 25 at the time. Like, kids are a while out. I would love to have a daughter one day. I obviously work with mothers and daughters quite
You're
intimately.
Closer to it than your average
exactly
non-mom.
Yeah, I'm like in the mother-daughter conversation all the time. So potentially also that could be kind of exhausting. But I was so moved by the way you were doing it differently, and it actually didn't feel that far away. I didn't have a kid, but I was still exhausted. And I didn't feel like I had enough time. And because I was so passionate about so many things, it's like I was still doing too much and drained all the time. So kind of against my own thinking, you drew me in, and I felt like, wow, this still deeply relates to me. And beyond that, I just felt like I was so hungry for these kinds of conversations. As a younger woman, I often feel like I don't have permission to enter into the motherhood conversation, because I'm not going, oh, I'm pregnant, or I'm trying to get pregnant. Like, I would even read books about what's pregnancy like, and it wasn't
really?
Yeah, really.
That's amazing.
Because I just felt like, my mom was also a nurse practitioner, so she was in women's health, like your mom is. And so I grew up with this hip mom trying to have these conversations with me, and I had a similar kind of reaction a lot of the time. But so even with that, I felt like I was still so hungry to just have motherhood and pregnancy and child raising, just be part of the conversation that I could be witness to. So I didn't go in blind, like my mom did.
I really feel like that's such a huge, I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
I've not really thought about that much, how important that is.
Yeah.
But in other cultures, I know that women just talk about everything, no matter what the age is, and no matter, everyone just knows the things because we just share stories. And in our culture, I was shocked by how much, regardless of having been raised by an OBGYN.
Yep.
My
mom's a gynecologist.
There were so many things I didn't know that my friends started telling me as soon as I got pregnant or as soon as I had kids. And I was like, why is this not common knowledge?
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it wasn't common knowledge for me. So I'm so glad that that's been a side benefit that I didn't even expect.
Being in Origin and just the really rich community that you've built, it just goes to tell we're so hungry for this that when we get just the invite, it's like whoosh, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's in there from all over the world. It's amazing what Facebook community and all this allows us to do. but I just felt like in some ways the luckiest fly on the wall. You know, I get to engage in some ways, but also just like get to have my life filled up by these conversations. It's almost like I just didn't realize how starving I was for it. Just to like have it so needs to be part of the normal. And you know, reading a book's one thing, but then witnessing the kind of conversations that your amazing community of women has just around like everyday mothering stuff, weaving in with business. It makes me feel like, okay, even though maybe that's 4 or 5 years from me, maybe like I could do that too. Beyond just the theoretical, like there are people like practically putting in the hard work. Because that's me, I need that proof. I need like when it gets real, like, can I do this? And like, I mean, not just you, like your hundreds of women are doing it too. It's the best.
And they inspire me every day. What parts of Origin, whether the content or you've already spoken about the community, but what parts have been your favorite or have really stuck out for you?
I mean, the content really. Content is queen for me. It was just like getting to sink into the master classes. I was always an in-person person. So whether it was like retreats or therapy or whatever it was, I was like, I wanted to be there. I wanted to like be in person. And I always kind of had this this theory that like online couldn't be as good. Like, you know, and they're so good. I don't know, maybe it's something you bring to those conversations or for sure who you invite. I just kind of feel like I'm there with you. And they've become such a part of my rhythm now, you know, it's like I look forward to, during my workday, actually getting to pause and nourish myself with watching it. Because I mean, some of these conversations, it's like books I've read about some of these concepts or thought about it, but it's such a way, it invites me to really bring it into practice in my life, which I think is a place I can get stuck. To actually go, how do I live these values in my life? And it's such a delicious reminder. And I just found the way that you've structured the content is not overwhelming, which is a place that I get stuck. It's like there's just too much, and then if there's too much, I just don't do it.
Of course.
And so I just kind of feel like there was something for everyone, and also for everyone, meaning every month, what's lighting me up? You know, like sometimes it's like all about the masterclass, and I'll watch it 3 times, and then sometimes it's like the how-to video, and I'm like, finally, like let me get nitty-gritty and like print out the materials and like post it up, which like I have my cork board next to my desk, and I have all like the mantras written up there.
Nice.
And I cycle them around based on like the time of day that I'm in and like the time of my cycle. Cause like I've always been a nerd about this stuff, about my energy, about my schedule, and now it's like this sigh of relief to be like, oh my God, I make sense to myself. Like I can work with myself rather than against myself. Which is just so exhausting to be working against yourself all the time.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's what most of us have been doing
Yeah.
for so long.
Yeah. Me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in your life or in your business, what's different now from being a part of Origin and incorporating some of the lessons you're learning than it was when you joined or before you joined?
Yeah. I'd say 2 big things. One is my productivity is so much higher. Again, I always felt like I was kind of racing the day, racing myself until I shut down and couldn't work anymore. Like the afternoon hit and I went, well, what's wrong with me? I've shut down, rather than going, how do I work with this energy and shift my tasks? So my productivity, it's like I'm doing 4 times more than I was doing in a day, and it's going so much faster. Just because I've changed like my schedule to do the work when I'm gonna be at like my highest energy that's gonna fit that. So my productivity, which means like actually things are getting done in my business when, you know, there are products that I was trying to, you know, get underway for like a year and a half, and was kind of about to give up almost, you know, like, okay, I must be the piece that doesn't fit here. And then with actually getting to change my schedule and having my productivity shift, like it's all happened in like a month and a half. I'm like proud. I mean, I don't know when this video is going to air, but like we're launching in September, you know, and it's a product that I've been sitting on for a year and a half.
Wow.
So like that's a huge piece. And I think the other part, which so naturally weaves into that, is that I actually believe I can do it. You know, and that that changes everything. You know, I've been in this business for 11 years. I love it. I'm bringing it online. We're offering online courses for the first time to our global community, which is just like so huge. And I've always had this whisper in my heart that there's something else I wanted to do. And it just felt like, it felt impossible. It just felt like there's too much. I have this vision, but, well, I must be the wrong person for this whisper that I'm getting, you know? And it's like, wait, if I could do this, and I'm seeing my ability to work with myself, maybe I could actually do that too. And like now I actually am. I have a schedule where it's like, I'm gonna be doing that this winter. So, wow. Yeah, believing that something isn't wrong with me kind of changes everything.
Yeah, that's huge. So, where do you think you would be now if you hadn't made the decision to join Origin?
At best, I think I'd be stagnant. Like the stuck feeling that you can't escape. I think at worst I would have given up, actually. I think I'd been trying long enough and I'd kind of been burning my own life force to just push, and I was exhausted. I mean, maybe I would have kept fighting, but it certainly wasn't fun. I almost hope I would have given it, you know, like I was so tired. I think I'd be looking for a job maybe. Yeah.
And now that you have this community, that you have these tools, that you have a framework, where do you see yourself going? What's your desire?
I kind of feel like anything I want to create is possible. That sounds so cliche. I'm like totally the realist. I'm sitting on the couch being like, anything's possible. But there is that feeling, which is that I know with mothering and daughtering, I can get it set up. We actually hired 2 new team members this week.
Wow.
And they're actually like the support I've always dreamed but didn't think was possible. Like more organized than me. Like they can so take it off my plate and give space for my creativity. That business is gonna have the roots to blossom and actually doesn't need me, so that I can check in with it some, but then actually have the space for my own creativity. I wanna have more time to write. I wanna have time to dance in my free time. And where I really see myself is mothering and daughtering with this sustainable structure, and then me being able to really grow my own thing and have the space to do that and have the financial flexibility to do that, to have the abundance coming in so that I can stretch and grow in those ways, you know? And before I was in Origin, you know, I also had a really hard few years, you know? It was like a lot of people in the world, I think these days. It was kind of like a dark internal time, and I just didn't believe a lot of this could actually be possible. And I think what's so important to me is that I create a business life going forward that has space for community in it, and has space for moving my body, and has space for nourishing myself. And that wasn't the model of work that I was taught. You know, I was really taught kind of the old Protestant work ethic. You know, it's like work is kind of suffering and you do enough of it and then, you know, you get by, and then maybe one day when you retire, you have the golden years, you know?
Yeah.
And it is a huge reframe to actually go, wow, what if like the golden years were like now, like they started right now? And I wasn't waiting for that one day.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you think it's important that women know? Women entrepreneurs, women who consider themselves nurturers, women who are mothers or are not yet mothers, but perhaps want to be someday, or maybe don't even want to be someday.
Yeah, right?
What should they know?
There's lots of ways that we mother. You know?
There are so many ways that we mother.
Right?
Yeah.
You're not crazy. You never were. You're not the problem. You're enough. And anything you want to create, you actually can, even though it sounds insane right now, perhaps, like listening to us sit on a beautiful white couch talk about that. It's like, actually, you can. Sometimes there's a few bumps to it, but along the road, but you can. And if you have that seed of an idea, then it's yours. It's yours to create. You know, no one else has that seed. So it's yours to plant and nourish. And you can, you know, if you have the seed, you can trust it. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your story and your heart.
Thanks for creating Origin. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks for nourishing that seed.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks for being part of it.
Yeah.